everybody, Crystal Beaudry here with Crystal's Clean Kitchen. So every year about this time, I love doing appetizer recipes because we're all having game nights and football parties. So you guys are definitely going to want to go check my playlist called Appetizers because I have so many good ones that are low carb friendly, keto approved, and will be delicious for any party that you're having. Well, in today's episode, we're going to be making some buffalo chicken meatballs. Now, these are so good. Of course, they're low carb and keto approved. And we're going to put the bottom of the plate some homemade ranch dressing. That's a Greek yogurt ranch dressing. It's so good. And it's going to go perfectly with this recipe. Thank you so much for watching, but do me a huge favor and hit that like button. All right, so here's all the ingredients that you are going to need. So for our meatballs, we need 1 pound of some ground chicken. Of course, you could use any other kind of ground meat that you want. I know ground turkey would probably be really good with this also. And then if you need to double this recipe, of course, if you're having a lot of people, it's very easy to double it. Then you need 1 egg, 1 stalk of some celery, and then we're going to be chopping that up, 2 sprigs of some green onions. For our flour, we're going to be using some coconut flour, but if you don't have coconut flour, you could replace it with almond flour. That would work also. And you're going to need 1 tablespoon of some coconut flour. For our mayonnaise, you need 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise. I chose some avocado mayonnaise. Now you want to make sure that when you're choosing your mayonnaise, you have to look at the back to make sure that there's no inflammatory oils in that mayonnaise. So for our seasoning, we are going to be using 1 teaspoon each of some black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and some Celtic Sea Salt. Now if you don't know, or if you haven't heard anything about Celtic Sea Salt, it's actually so amazing. It has 82 essential minerals in it, and it's something that your body desperately needs. It is one of the best things that you can eat. So go buy some Celtic Sea Salt if you don't have some already. And then you need 1 cup of some buffalo sauce. Now you want to make sure that you're reading the ingredients that are in the buffalo sauce because a lot of times they try to sneak in some pretty nasty stuff. So this brand makes a great buffalo sauce. It's very clean. So I suggest that you check that one out. Now we're also going to be making some homemade yogurt, Greek yogurt ranch dressing to go on the bottom of our plate. It's going to give this appetizer the perfect finishing touches. So, and then also you'll have some ranch dressing for later on too. So we're going to be using 1 cup of some Greek yogurt. It's super cheap at Costco, which is where I got that. Now I'm mixing some fresh herbs and some powdered herbs. So for the fresh herbs, you need 1 tablespoon of some fresh dill. You could, of course, also use dried. If you're using dried, you'd want to do 1 teaspoon. We're also using fresh parsley, so 1 tablespoon of fresh parsley. The fresh herbs in this is going to be perfect, and it's going to make this taste so much better. If you don't have fresh parsley, though, you could also use 1 teaspoon of some dried parsley. We're going to also use 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of some onion powder, 1 teaspoon of some chives, and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. Okay, let's get started. All right, so I am going to start by chopping everything up, putting it in the bowl. This recipe is going to be so fast to make. Now, I usually like all of my stuff super, super thin, but you can cut it to however you want. You know, this recipe is so easy to make. I honestly just should be making a double batch of it, because I know that my family is going to love it. Another great thing about this recipe is that it could be for supper if you wanted it, or it could be for the appetizer for your party. While I'm making this today, my kids and my husband will just eat it for supper. The other day when I was making those taco bites, my husband came home and had the whole plate full of them. He was like, these are so good. So with the rest of it, we are just going to toss the rest of the ingredients for the meatballs in here together. So I tossed in the 1 tablespoon of the coconut flour, 1 tablespoon of some mayonnaise. Here's the meat. And then I'm going to also put in our spices. My Celtic Sea Salt, some garlic, some onion powder, and some black pepper. Then just mix it together. I'm also going to be adding my egg in there. The egg is really going to help this stick together more. Now with my sausage balls that I made in the other recipe, I don't know if you guys have seen that one, which is super good also, I actually did the sausage meat cooked ahead of time. And that actually worked out really, really well for that recipe. This one, however, I am doing it raw, and it's going to work out great also. All right, here you go. That's what it looks like. Of course, this was like, what, took 2 minutes to make. This is a great option that you can make even if it's for supper. And it's just gonna be really quick and easy to whip up. Now you could put this in the refrigerator for a few minutes if you wanted. That might make it easier to put into balls. Or you could just roll it however you want right now. Then just grab a parchment lined baking sheet and we'll be setting the balls on there. I think I am going to put this in the refrigerator for a couple of minutes just to make it a little easier to put into a ball form. All right, so I cooled this down a little bit outside. It's Minnesota, so I can put this outside. Now a cookie scoop would be perfect for this, but I don't have one, so I'm just gonna do the best I can. I'm not really like rolling it a ton in my hands. I'm just doing it kind of lightly. And then you can make it any size that you want also. I love this green in here though. It actually turned out really good. If you are wanting it to not be so sticky, you could add a little bit more coconut flour. That would work also. Right, here you go. We're going to be putting this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes or until the inside of it has reached 160 degrees. So now we're going to get started on our ranch dip. We're going to be using 1 tablespoon of some dill. Of course, you could do more if you want to. I personally love dill, and it's only going to make it taste better. This is what gives it that normal ranch flavor. Now, if you have ever checked the ingredients of ranch in the store, it is just packed with inflammatory oils, and it's kind of disappointing actually. I have searched so many brands of ranch, and you just can't find one with good ingredients, not even like ones that are dairy-free or anything like that. They all use like canola oil and just a ton of ingredients that I would never put in my body. You want about 1 tablespoon. And then I'm putting it in a little ninja chopper. You don't have to. You could just chop it all by hand if you wanted, but I like it. I would like it to be in really, really fine pieces so that you don't get like chunks of fresh herbs. So what we're going to be doing with this ranch dressing is we are going to be putting it on the bottom of the plate that we serve it on. And it's going to not only make it look really cool, but it's going to be the perfect way for people to already have it dipped onto their meatball before they put it on their plate. Now we're going to add all the rest of the spices. 1 teaspoon of some pepper, 1 teaspoon of some dried chives, 1 teaspoon of garlic, and 1 teaspoon of some onion powder, and 1 teaspoon of the Celtic Sea Salt. 1 cup of Greek yogurt. Of course, you're wanting it to be completely sugar-free. Now I'm going to start chopping this just like this, and then I will add some milk or some water to it as I go to see how thick I want it. All right, I've chopped it a little bit here. I'm going to kind of scrape down the edges. Now it is green because I did use a ton of herbs. You can always use less than I did. That was about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons. Give it a little taste test. Now from my taste test, I noticed that it needed some more Greek yogurt. So I'm gonna just put some more in. Now I got this thing from Amazon. It was like, I don't know, just a couple bucks. It makes juicing a lemon really, really easy. So I'm gonna throw the juice of about 1/2 of a lemon in here as well. All right, let's give it another taste test. Pretty good. All right, I'm going to keep this in the refrigerator until everything is all ready. All right, so I just pulled these out of the oven. I put my little thermometer in there just to make sure that it reaches at least 160. Turning the stove on medium heat, I'm going to be putting a cup of my buffalo sauce in my skillet. Then you just want to place all your balls in here. Now doing it in the pan like this is going to have 2 purposes. Number 1, we're going to be warming up the buffalo sauce. And number 2, we're going to just be making these get even more saturated with that yummy buffalo flavor. Now you want to make sure that you're going to continue to stir it every once in a while to continue to submerge the meatballs in this sauce. Now while that is heating up on the stove, we are going to take our ranch and put it onto our plate that we are using for our appetizer. And then we're going to place all of our stuff on top of this. All right, so this is ready and it is done. Right before I plate it, I'm gonna give it one more coat. Kind of flip it around here a little bit more, and then I will be putting it onto our serving plate. I would use some toothpicks for serving these. I unfortunately ran out, so I don't have any. So now that we have this all plated, what I would do with the extra ranch is I would just put it into a bowl and let people use it as a dip. All right, here it is. This turned out so awesome, and it was so easy to make. Just a few ingredients. You guys, you gotta try this. Okay, let's give it a taste test. I love that ranch on the bottom of this plate. Okay, so I'm tasting that crunchy celery, super flavorful. The onions gave it a good flavor. Of course, the buffalo dressing is just, wow, it's amazing. You guys, you are going to love this recipe. Thank you so much for watching this video. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure to go do that. And of course, stay tuned for some more great recipes. We'll see you next time.